Hey guys, this is Mitch, and we're back to finish up the week of X-Force. I was going to say the week of Rob, but as we'll see over the course of this issue, there's actually very little Rob in today's X-Force entry. We're doing X-Force number 5 by Rob and Company. But before we get into it, if you enjoy the channel, if you feel like you might want to support me a little bit as an artist, in the description there's a link to my Patreon, and if you subscribe there, that gives you access to everything I do. All the Blood Force stuff, all the video stuff before it gets uploaded to YouTube, and some Patreon exclusives. So let's get into X-Force number 5. So does this have anything to do with the last few issues we've been looking at this week? I mean, a little bit here and there. When Deadpool was teleporting away Black Tom and Juggernaut, that gets carried over. Also, where S.H.I.E.L.D. is gunning for Cable. And that's about it, really. I guess we can start with the cover. This is kind of a classic Rob cover in that there's not a fucking thing going on. We saw it last time on issue 4. We'll see it again in future. You see, issue 7. Yep, same kind of thing. And, I mean, running and shooting. I suppose that's almost something. Again, on that gigantic globe. Yep. I don't know. It doesn't feel like Rob has any sort of inclination to let the reader know what's going to go happen in the issue. Other than, you know, this character is going to be in it. Because the events of an issue, the writing, unimportant, right? All you need are cool shots. Which character is in this? Who can I draw in a badass pose standing there with their gun like by their ear and just, you know, and smoke in the background, maybe a screen door. I've previously heard Rob described on Cartoonist Kayfabe as the kid in the back of the class who would sketch badass images, but he would do the same things over and over. And they kind of said that like it was a good thing. I don't think it is. I think it's fucking boring. I think that's a start, that's a pinup. But like if you don't have anything to keep the reader invested, you drew a cool shot of Cable running and shooting, but that's the same shot you're going to use over and over again. Why do I need to pick up more issues if the story doesn't get more interesting? So anyway, this one is going to be about the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants coming back. I have no idea who this is. But we've got the Blob and Sauron. I can't say it as Sauron anymore. Toad and fucking what's his name? Okay, so we're going to start things off with Deadpool returning to Tolliver with Juggernaut and Black Tom. And we're going to note right off the bat here, these are not Rob Liefeld pencils. These are Marat Mychaels pencils. Maybe Rob Liefeld did breakdowns. I think that's probably the case. And then Marat Mychaels does pencils and inks. And we got Brian Murray doing his weird Brian Murray colors over top, including putting Deadpool against a red background multiple times. I think that's a dumb move. And exacerbating things, he tends to make his guys too red too. But like, look how much of the shading he's taking care of here. You know, where he's doing the backlighting on everybody. Because Marat has no idea what backlighting is. And Rob couldn't be bothered. So, Deadpool presents Black Tom and Juggernaut. Black Tom's in a bad way because Cable shot him and dropped him down an elevator shaft. So, Tolliver's going to promise to fix him up. And then they're both going to be indebted to his services. And then we're going to cut to Dr. Carl Lycos, I believe, who is Sauron. I'm going to try to say it correctly. Coming home, enjoying the fact that he's just living normal human life. Except when he comes home, his girlfriend, or maybe fiance, I'm not for sure, is being held by the Blob and Toad. And we didn't get a double splash. That's the first time in a while. We got our exposition page to start, and just kind of kept going. That's a bit different for Rob. But yeah, you see all the weird kind of conflicting colors. He's trying to do double lighting, Brian Murray, I mean. But it feels like either he doesn't know enough about it, or he can't get exact enough with the current coloring process. It might be a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, really. Like somebody who was more experienced with it could probably get more out of it. It's, you know, he's trying a bunch of stuff at least. But yeah, he can't quite get there. And we're going to get a lot of close-ups on kind of gross Rob Liefeld smiles. These are the smiles he's ripped off of Art Adams and kind of twisted up. But it's like, it's a shorthand thing, right? Where, okay, I know how to do this, so we're going to drop a lot of that in this issue. So they're going to grab, I don't know, they're going to grab Sauron here before he's Sauron. And they're going to explain what their situation is, which is, you know what, we're mutants, right? It's like, yes, no, he's one too. And explain his viewpoint on all the different X groups up to now. So he figures there's too many X groups, so there might as well be one more. So we're going to restart the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. And again, tiny drawing blown up. You can tell by the super wide marks. And another close-up on the mouth. Yeah, again, it's like shorthand. And so now we're going to cut to Gideon, who is explaining about how things were when he was held captive. And it's like, yeah, those Black Tom and Juggernaut guys, they're pretty bad. But the real troublemaker was Cable, for reals. And Cable and his band give mutants everywhere a bad name and must, for the greater good of the free world, be stopped. So I think we've seen before that Gideon and Cable just butt heads because they're typical Rob badassy characters who should butt heads. Because they're both alpha males, right? It's not really a conflicting philosophies kind of thing, because neither of them has a philosophy, really. And we got a couple of photocopies here. Or, one photocopy of the other. And Brian Murray's going to try and differentiate things. Look at him, the blotchiness going on here. Like, Gideon looks like from one panel to the next, he developed cancer of the face. I think because Marat put in some really weird head wrinkles here, trying to go for a furrowed brow. And Brian Murray either misinterpreted that or tried to kind of cover it up. I'm not for sure. It does kind of look like he's got a birthmark just spreading before your very eyes. And this is a page out of every issue of Brigade I've read, right down to the I can't draw a woman's face, where Cable tries to act all cool and be like, yeah, no, it's so everyone's against us. And Cannonball has problems with that. And he's like, we should stop antagonizing everybody, which is fair. Boom Boom agrees with him. And I guess Boom Boom and Cannonball are kind of the only original members of New Mutants left now, eh? I didn't realize that up until this point. I figured it was more of the group. And Cable just kind of goes, everything will be good. You just got to trust me, because I know what I'm doing. Not that he's shown any kind of evidence of having a plan of any kind. This is one of the more subtly impressive Rob layouts, I think. Because this is like 4 people who look like they're in a room. And I don't know if Rob's ever managed that before, or since. It almost never happens. So well done on that. Come on and slam. And welcome to the gym. So yeah, they come close to the boiling point, and they go, it's not worth it. Because that's how they always, none of these arguments are worth it. But we need them to fill up the pages. And the end result is going to be that Sam is going to stick around for now. Tabitha is going to stick around for now. But she's going to show her disdain for the whole situation by just kind of crossing her eyes and warbling out of existence. Again, Marat Mychaels was not ready to be a comic artist at this point. Never did get ready. But Rob paid him like he was a superstar anyway. And now we're going to cut to Warpath, running through the woods and yelling at the moon. Because this is what Native Americans do, right? It feels like there's at least a little bit of research done. Because he's going over a sort of a light history of tensions between Native Americans and white settlers. So, Vittorio killed by General George Crook, 1880. Geronimo surrenders. Mangus, Colorado, signs a treaty. James Carleton. I assume these are... I'd never done any research on it myself. I assume these are correct. They seem pretty good, at least. So doing a little bit of research is good. it does, again, just kind of reinforce stereotypes, because this is all you, I don't know, it feels like this is all Rob can think of to do with a Native American character. Is he ruminates on the history of his people, and he's got to get revenge for the wrongs done by white settlers. Which is a story. And I mean, you can tell it well. Well, somebody can tell it well, but it ain't Rob. And now we're going to cut to Shatterstar training with little Star Wars training lasers, because those are easy. And one of the better Marat finish pages, I suppose, it helps that there's no backgrounds whatsoever. Brian Murray did everything to make it look like there was something else going on. Like, look what he does here with the concentric circles. Again, Brian Murray in 1991 isn't the guy you hire to make your book look better. He might be the guy you hire if, you just need to make it look weird for a little while. And we're going to get a bunch of narration from Farrell here, who got into a little bit of a tussle in X-Force number 3, I think. No, number 2. And since then has developed a bit of a crush on Shatterstar, because he didn't hold back, I think, and kind of went toe-to-toe with her. I don't mind that as a setup, if you do something interesting with it. I don't believe they ever did. All this stuff is just nothing. It doesn't even look interesting. It feels like Rob is phoning in even the layouts at this point. And I mean, this is issue 5 of his big deal new book, right? And yeah, so, hey, look. Farrell comes in and she's going to hit on Shatterstar a little bit until he takes off his helmet and reveals his horrible flat top and tiny, tiny braids. And she goes, oh, fuck that. And she leaves. No, she flirts with him a bunch and then leaves him in mystery. But yeah, this is absolutely terrible. It feels like Mychaels didn't understand what Shatterstar's hair was supposed to look like. I feel like Rob might have left this image blank, because all this stuff looks fairly Rob-like until you get down here, and that's pure Marat. I know that's not how you pronounce his name, by the way. I don't care. It's all right. Maybe I should call him Lack of Marat Mychaels. And we cut back to the control room where Siren has been overseeing this particular tete-a-tete. And we're moving on from Marat Mychaels. This is Brian Murray doing the artwork now, and it's better. And to the point where, like, it might be better in some ways than what Rob does. You can always tell Brian Murray because he does really weird and involved eyes. He really wants to try and get across how the iris would look, and he tends to overwork them. The result is interesting looking, at least. Like, this is a far better eye than I've seen, at least, out of, like, Rob or Marat. And we kind of momentarily set up a possible crush situation between Siren and Shatterstar. I don't know. Cable shows up. Decent drawing of Cable, and he invites her to join X-Force because he has respect for her and her father. And I think Siren's willing to accept, given how past events have gone for her. I think the Muir Island saga just ended. Yeah, there's those terrible shirts again. And now we're going to cut to S.H.I.E.L.D., and I think we may be back to Marat. Yep. That was where Nick is conjuring pillows out of his cigar smoke. And they're going to, I don't even know, like bicker back and forth and be like, we got to go after Cable. I don't want to go after Cable. It doesn't matter what you want. It's what S.H.I.E.L.D. wants. And Bridge is okay with taking down Cable, but he just needs to know why. And I don't think we're going to find out why. Just it looks like they've managed to get a bit of additional funding. And what it boils down to, Cable, is that one way or another, you're going down. And I feel like the other people in the room should have been like, he's not here, right? But somebody's got to go down. That's all that matters. And now we're going to cut back to Toad and Blob, and they've imprisoned Dr. Lycos and his girlfriend. And they're going to transform him back into Sauron. And I think these are Rob pages now. You can usually tell by the way he draws women's faces. Because Marat just can't do it. And Brian Murray can. It looks a little weird, but not like Rob weird. So, in order to transform him into Sauron, he has to absorb the life essence of a human. So, that's what his girlfriend's here for. Get a bunch of Kirby crackle. And then we get ads and cablegrams. I guess it's a cliffhanger. No. They seem to have fucked up the layout. Because, I mean, I can understand either an ad or a letters page being slotted in to make room for a double page spread. But having both just says to me you fucked up the layout. Or you promised a particular page to the ad, maybe. That could be it. Anyway, Sauron is back in a page Rob very clearly drew. Because this is the cool page. And he could get, paid for 2 pages by just drawing a single page. And that's it. Anything interesting in the letters page? X-Force is awesome. Skip. X-Force is pretty neat. Okay. I kicked the mutant habit a few years ago. I'm guessing that means he hasn't anymore. Just finished reading X-Force number 3, and I must say, you are the best artist in the entire galaxy. This is the kind of shit that, you wonder why Rob has a big head these days, right? I've just finished reading X-Force issues 1 to 3, and I would like to tell you that I think this book is the greatest. And they just pile on the plaudits. And that's going to do it for X-Force number 5. So, yeah, that kind of sucked. What the hell happened in that? Was there anything? Toad turned Sauron back into Sauron. And no, nothing else happened. We kind of set up some tensions, I suppose, or some potential relationships. I don't know. Nothing happened in that fucking book. Nothing's happened for 4 or 5 books now. Why do people keep liking X-Force? And we're nearing the end of Liefeld on X-Force already. He draws issues 6 and 7. I think he probably inks them himself as well. Because that looks a bit better than Marat, at least. He can ink himself better than Marat can. Maybe a couple pages here and there helped out. So, yeah, he draws issues 6 and 7. He does a couple of pages of issue 8 before Mike Mignola does the rest. He draws issue 9, but I feel like it's more like breakdowns. And then Dan Panosian, who's brand new, does a shitty inking job over it. Dan Panosian, of course, would get much, much better. And really, that's it for Rob on X-Force. Because, I think he does breakdowns on 10 and 11 as well. But then Mark Pasella is drawing, and it kind of looks like shit anyway. And then it's Youngblood time, So, like, all of the Rob era, everything he's kind of built his success on is, like, 13, 14 issues of New Mutants, and maybe 7 issues of X-Force. And that's kind of it. Unless there were Hawk and Dove fans. I don't think anybody's ever been a Hawk and Dove fan, though. I defy you to find me a Hawk and Dove fan. And, this is the most confusing part for me, I think. If it's 1988, 1989, and you're getting bored with DC art, right? Which you may very well have been, unless you're reading John Byrne's Superman or something. But, like, Jim Aparo doesn't move the needle for me, and I feel like he was one of the biggest names they had. Although Norm Brayfogle was all right. But, yeah, so Rob's art at that point would have been a shock to the system. Okay. Like, how long before you go, okay, this art is different, but there's nothing behind it. There's no fundamentals. There's no understanding of how to tell a story. And then he does a couple of backup stories in Marvel Comics Presents. He does a What If issue. He does a couple covers. Did a fill-in issue on X-Men. And then takes over New Mutants, and he just skyrockets, and I don't understand why. He had like a year, and that was it, to make him like the most popular artist. And then he got the fuck out of there before anybody could realize he had nothing to back it up. That might be part of the secret, is just the brevity of his stays. He comes around long enough to go, hey, look, I draw weird shit, and I say it looks really cool, and you will believe me for a second, and after that second, I'm getting the fuck out. And I guess, you know, it just kind of convinces you? I don't know. It's such bad artwork. And I mean, like, I feel like I've covered most of Rob's oeuvre now. You know, I've done half of the Youngblood issues. I've done a bunch of X-Force issues now. Now, we still got New Mutants to look at. And then after he's done with Youngblood, he's going to kind of fuck around and drop an issue or two every now and then. We could do the Captain America series one day, because that's fucking hilarious. But that's going to be a series for another day. But this is going to do it for this one, I guess. Thanks very much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when the next one's coming out. Go and subscribe on my Patreon. That gives you access to everything I do, including every Blood Force page and finished comic, as well as these videos before they make it to YouTube, usually a week or so in advance, and some Patreon exclusives. And then if you go follow me on Instagram, you can DM me there for commissions if you like. Otherwise, I do drop some drawings there every once in a while. So yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Next week, we're going to move in a very different direction, so be on the lookout for that. So that's going to do it for this video. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.